new home for podcasts and original music.
The Saginaw One Radio Network.
Are taking on the number 21 Texas Longhorns. I'm still wondering when they're going to be back. Sam Ellinger said they were going to be back like 3 years ago.
Just comes to mind on that list that you're like, like this, they could shock the world. Nathan,
you want this? Hold on.
Nathan, wait a minute. Stop it, Skip.
How are we looking at this? Is this a walk off or is this going to be like the Florida game?
Bama by 3 touchdowns.
Here we go. Get your popcorn ready.
So what's the big thing?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. What is up? What is up? What is up? It is November the 8th, 2021. We are rolling into week 11 of NCAA football action. And I am your host, Mr. Fingers, here with my man, the shout-out king, Sean Spencer, and down there, that handsome fella down there, all decked out in red and black, is coming down the track, the homie, the ace, Colin P. Joining us for this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope everybody's doing well. Everybody there?
Yeah,
we're doing
okay,
fantastic.
I hope y'all doing well. Y'all were like, are you talking to me? He talking to you. He talking to you. He talking to me. He talking to me. I was like, we picked a heck of a time to have some experiencing technical difficulties. Oh, man. Man, look, last week was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, just all the way across the board, not just SEC football, but all the way across the board, man. We got what you saw, number 20 Minnesota fall to Illinois. You had Ohio State struggle with Nebraska for a little bit and then finally pulled away. Wake Forest got shocked. That's the one that got me. Wake Forest getting shocked by the Tar Heels. I see you. I see you, little Tar Heel blue. I see you. Baylor drops to TCU. That one doesn't shock me though. Did I not, Sean? Did I not tell you Baylor is sneaky?
Did they beat TCU or they lost to them?
They lost to TCU.
Oh, yeah.
Did I not tell you that the teams in the Big 12 that are sneaky is Baylor, TCU, Iowa State. Number 12, no more. Michigan State. Michigan State 40-29 against Purdue. What is going on? Something about when they get to beating that drum, man. When they get to beating that drum.
Pass defense, the secondary. That's the same thing that I questioned to you guys. They haven't faced anybody that can really put it over the top. And Purdue could put it over the top. I think Purdue's quarterback had over 500 yards passing. The running back was balling out. And this was a trap game. Look, Michigan State came up against Michigan a week ago. They got the W after coming down 30-14. Kenneth Walker gets 5 TDs. And then we go up against Purdue, and everybody's like, on to Ohio State. They totally bypassed the 3 or 4 games we had coming in. And, hey, shout out to Purdue. They shocked them.
Yeah, they did.
Bruh. Keeping it moving, though. Keeping it moving here, though. Kentucky losing to Tennessee. I didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't see that one coming either. I mean, I
didn't see that one coming. Tennessee generally, as Tennessee the last couple of years kind of gets a slow start to the season and starts picking up steam. But this is a game of absolutely zero defense whatsoever. We're going to get into that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But it was zero defense whatsoever. I mean, how are you going to say 87 points between the two teams? Will Levis threw for 372 yards and ran for 2 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker threw for 316 yards and threw for 4 touchdowns. And they had a combined total for 700 some odd yards passing and another 370 yards on the ground. Almost 800 yards of offense between two teams. There was no defense. It was just let's light up the scoreboard and to see who's winning and the game is over. That's basically what that boiled down to. Iowa just snuck by Northwestern. Bama, we ain't gonna talk about Bama. We're gonna save that one. Fresno State got blown out by Boise State. It just was a crazy week in football this week. And I think as far as the SEC, things kind of balance themselves out a little bit, but only a little bit. Ole Miss, we're gonna start with Ole Miss. Ole Miss at home in Oxford takes on the Liberty Flames, who actually is a decent team. They were 7-2 coming into the game. Ole Miss manages to pull out a 2-score win. Excuse me, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I had some spicy chicken for dinner. It's making my sinuses run. Matt Corral, 20-27, 324 yards. Only one touchdown, though, and no running touchdowns for him this week. I wonder if that ankle is still giving him the blues, the one that got twisted up a couple of weeks ago, last week. But they look legit. You know what? I'm just gonna let's do what we were gonna do. Let's stay with the format. Let's go ahead and stay with the format the way we always do it. Let's go ahead and start from the get-go. Y'all know what everybody came here to talk about. That's what I came here to talk about. How about them dogs?
I can agree with that.
How about them dogs?
And dogs showed up. Like
Missouri.
I said, though, we were talking about earlier there, fingers, that everybody was talking about this, this quarterback controversy, JT this and mailman this and that. And what does our boy do? What's the mailman do first?
Oh, the mailman dropped a dime, a beautiful dime.
Beautiful
He
pass.
put it right in the bread basket. 13-19, 255 for the mailman. Now, we did see the return of everybody that's been chanting, we want JT. Finally got him back. He did exactly. He performed exactly how I thought he was going to. He was a little rusty because he hasn't played since.
Of course.
He hasn't played since what, the South Carolina game?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yep.
7 of 11, 82 yards. He did throw for a touchdown, but he threw a pickle.
Yeah.
Of course, yours truly had a lot of fun going in all the University of Georgia and the SEC groups and going, oh, we want Stetson back. JT threw a pick. We want Stetson back. Because that's been all the quarterback controversy. And there's always going to be quarterback controversy at Georgia. But I think that Kirby knows exactly what he's doing. Kirby learned a lesson. 4 years ago, Kirby learned a lesson. Nobody knew who Tua Tagovailoa was outside of folks that were really paying attention to what was going on with the game. We're up. We got him on the ropes. Nick says, hey, Jalen, come sit down for a minute. Hey, Tua, go get this championship for us. And Tua made it happen. What it boils down to is you have to have – it's almost like you have to have that two-quarterback system because eventually somebody will figure out how to shut down your marquee quarterback.
Well, if you think about it, actually the reverse happened after that. Remember, it was the SEC championship. Remember, we had Tua was in there. We had his number. We were getting him. We were getting after him. We were getting back to him, making him make bad decisions. We sacked him several times. And then what did he do? Sat Tua down, put in Hurts. And then Hurts just proceeded to just destroy us. You know, Bama does what Bama do. Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly right. So, I mean, I agree with your point totally there, man, because that's what they do. And it seems to work. And it seems that is a huge advantage to have that kind of two-headed monster, you know, to be able to go to in the backfield like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could foresee Kirby pulling the St. Nick and pulling the switch and swap. You know, he's giving JT the reps to warm him up so he can get game ready. Because I don't think
we've had that luxury, have we? I mean, we really haven't had that kind of option to actually have that type of two quarterback style. You know No. I mean, we kind of had the opportunity to exercise it when Jake Eason was still on the sidelines when Fromm took him to the national championship. But at that point, I don't think that's anything that any college, and that's the genius of Nick Saban. I'll say it. I used to hate Nick Saban. Now I'm acknowledged. That's the genius of Nick Saban. He was kind of ahead of his time, and
Now you see a lot of teams that have the 2 quarterback system. Florida tried to implement it. Didn't work so well for them. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. But, if Kirby could have figured out a way to work those 2 out, who knows? Maybe Jake Eason comes in off the bench. Not that Fromm was playing badly, because Fromm was playing lights out in that game. But maybe he could have brought Jake Eason in somewhere in the 4th quarter and maybe dunked off a couple of more touchdowns and given us that lead to where we would not have had to go into overtime. So they have that. But this is probably, I would say, I can't say most complete game. Well, I will say it. It wasn't as defensively dominant as the Florida game, but the offense showed up. We see that Stetson now has an arm. He might not have a cannon, but he's got a good arm. He's good at He's good at his reads. And to boot, his pocket was not clean the entire game.
No, that boy's got wheels too.
He really didn't have a clean pocket because he had to scramble quite a bit. So for him to be able to manage the game in a situation like that, what that tells me is he's grown as a quarterback from last year to this year. And it definitely showed in this game, even though it wasn't close and we weren't really tested. It's definitely shown us that he can get the job done. I was glad to see Zeus get another touchdown. He didn't really show out as much. He didn't get the ball as much, but we still generated 168 yards on the ground. Defense still doing what the defense does. Brock Bowers out there still showing off and catching passes. Ladd McConkey, that true freshman, with another touchdown. That kid's gonna look. Is it how odd is it that our 2 leading receivers, Georgia has gone from the days of Pickens being a leading receiver and Muhammad Massaquoi and AJ Green, and now your 2 leading receivers are Brock Bowers, your leading receiver, and your up and coming receiver is Ladd McConkey. McConkey. Yep. Yeah, we talking like Sean and Janae had a conversation last week about the white boys are balling out at tight end and wide receiver. Yes, sir. And we got 2 of them up in Athens, and they get ready to show us what they can do. I do think Pickens. I think Pickens, they're going to try and save him. No sense in bringing him back. We got Charleston Southern next week. I'm sorry, we got Tennessee next week, Charleston Southern the week after, and Georgia Tech.
What's the update on him? I mean, I was trying to read a little something. I know they kind of keep it close to the vest, and
Kirby's still playing
too much.
Kirby's still playing it close to the vest. If I had to go out on a limb, I'd say we wouldn't see him till we might see him in some limited action against. Kirby will do that. I'll go out there and get a few reps deal against Charleston Southern, and then I'll go out and get a couple more reps.
Well, I mean, do you think he's going to be ready for, say, an SEC championship or like that?
Absolutely. I guarantee. Look, I wish I had Nate's guarantee clip. Guarantee. I think he will be out there because I think depending on who we play in the SEC championship, we will need all hands on deck because now we're not playing Missouri and Vandy anymore in Charleston Southern. Right now, there's no telling who the hell will be playing in the SEC championship.
No doubt, yeah.
Because the West, even with Auburn losing, the West is still up for grabs. Yep. The West is still up for grabs. We could face Bama.
We're still looking good. So I mean,
we could face Bama. We could face A&M. We could face Auburn. Hell, Ole Miss might mess around and get in there. So it's at least there's at least 4 teams right now that have a very good shot at getting into the SEC championship game. So any one of those 4 teams, we're going to need all hands on deck.
So Auburn losing kind of put me back to, last week I kind of had a pretty good feeling that Auburn would give Alabama some trouble. But after them losing, I don't know. It could be.
Never say never.
I don't know.
Never say never. I'm going to give you an example. This is why I never say never with rivalry games. There's a team that hails from the 404 area code, a professional team. And they used to play in Fulton County Stadium, and then they moved to this big old fancy dome. I think they named it after the state it was in. And now they're in this stadium, this dome that's named after this car brand. They have been horrendous this season. And they played in an NFC rival in what has become a highly for the NFC South, a highly competitive rivalry game against the Saints. And not only did they win the game, not only did they come back to win that game, they came back. The Saints scored. When the Saints scored, I said that game is over, because what does Atlanta do inside the 2-minute mark? If they got a lead, they will give the game up. Atlanta said, I will see your touchdown and I will come back and I will still beat you, because it's a rivalry game. And the Iron Bowl, and honestly, okay, Georgia Tech has not been much of a rivalry, but look at Georgia, Florida. Look at Georgia, Florida, and look at Auburn, Alabama, especially the last 15 or so years. That Iron Bowl has always been a barn burner, a humdinger, a Rama Jamma, Yellow Hammer, whatever you want to call it. They're going to be out there.
I wasn't saying it never. I wasn't saying never. I was just saying that kind of put my mind a little bit, made me think about them a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. It could be a better game than I had perceived. You know what I'm saying? Slightly. Yeah.
If memory serves, the year of Kick Six, Auburn was not even in the contention for the West, but they still showed up and they beat Bama. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's any given Saturday, especially in the SEC.
Right.
Especially
I'm not calling it. I'm just saying. Yes,
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we'll put it on the book. We'll put it on the book. You got no confidence in them, but I still think I'm. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just remember what happened. Last time I picked Miss State, so I got the sometimes in my mind I got the mojo there, so got a little bit of psychic abilities.
Yeah. Shout outs to the homie Nathan Snell jumping all in the comments. Here's one for you, gentlemen. Do you see any potential under the radar draft picks? Now, Nate, are you talking about in Georgia specifically, or just in the SEC period? We'll let him get around to that. I'll leave that up there. We'll let him get back around to the comment section. I think again, I've been saying this since week 3. This is probably the most complete squad that I have seen in the time that I have been a fan. And I mean, just the fact that the play has been so dominant to the point that they're the only team to have wrapped up a spot in their conference playoff. And that was last week. Yeah. Just every other conference, you look around, there's still contention as to who's going. Georgia's like, nah, we got this. We're good.
Yeah. So what we giving up? 59 points of offense against us, something like that.
59 points. And look, the defense was out there. Crazy. Look, that defense, them junkyard dogs, I could see them out there huffing and sweating and puffing, and they were dogged out tired, and it was the fourth quarter. And Missouri, look, people are calling. Listen, the fact that if you can score a touchdown on the defense, your team is ready to rush the field. Yeah. And coaches are calling timeouts under a minute to go just to try and get a touchdown. I mean, Mark Stoops did it, and he got one. And you see what I'm saying? I got nothing.
That's like poking a sleeping bear, though. I mean, you heard our defense, how our defense actually, actually looks at it. If they get scored on, God help you. So I'm saying, and they were upset about the Mizzou game. I mean, they were upset that they had them 6 points. Actually, Mizzou scored 6 points. They think they didn't do their job. You know what I'm saying? They did. I mean, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, because I mean they ball out, they go out there to play ball, and they're doing it,
And I've seen the Herschel era, Georgia was very dominant, and they weren't this dominant. The 2017 team came along, and I was like, dang, this is better than the 80 squad, and they weren't that dominant. This 2021 team is a force to be reckoned with, I think. I've been saying it. I will say it from tape to tape. Forced to be reckoned with. Yeah. Oh man, those of you just joining us, hey, how are you doing? Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Monday night. Oh, we got more chats coming in. Let's see who's jumping in. Where are they? I don't see the comments. I don't see them. Oh, it's the same ones popping up. That's just Nate. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. Nate, look, Nate said Tua Tagovailoa in Maryland could have won that game. That's our homeboy Nate Snell with the Big Nate podcast. Nate definitely on the come up. You want to check him out? He broadcasts. I don't even know when he broadcasts. Just go find the Big Nate podcast on YouTube. He's all over the place. He's having big name guests coming in now.
He be hitting up at nighttime. He be hitting. He be going on like 10:45.
That's the only problem.
When he gets off work.
Nate, I know you get off work late. Bro, can you get your schedule changed? I'd be just getting ready to doze off and the Big Nate podcast on. And Nate does not do like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour show. Nate does like a whole 5 hours, like ESPN Sports Center. I mean, he got stats and stacks for days. Anyway, thank you all for joining us this week. This week in SEC football, I am Mr. Fingers. That's my man, Sean Spencer, the shout-out king. My homeboy, Colin P. Keeping this thing moving on along. We're going to move on to this next game. Fellas, what happened to Auburn? I'm going to go to you. I'm going to go to you first, Sean. I'm going to see what you guys say.
No, I wish I knew. I was voting for him, but it's Texas A&M. So, I mean, Colin, what do you think? Because I before this game, I was rooting for Auburn.
See,
now I don't know.
Yeah, like I said before, though, I mean that totally threw a wrench in what I was thinking about them. You know, when they to see them play Alabama, but I mean A&M. You know, I don't know how you want to do A&M beat Alabama. A&M beat Auburn. So I mean that's two huge wins for them. I mean I have no explanation what happened to them. I really don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean it was I don't know. What about you, Fingers? You got an explanation?
Well, I've been saying all season, it always depends on what Bo Nix shows up.
Well, that's
hands down, what Bo Nix shows up. Mm-hmm. Like a couple of weeks ago, Bo Nix looked like he was Heisman ready. This week, Bo Nix was really pedestrian. And it's a week-to-week thing. And I don't understand why Coach Harsin keeps going, this is my guy. This is my guy.
So
this is my guy.
He reminds me not to go to the NFL, but he reminds me of like a Matt Ryan. So there's no in between with him. Like he's either on or off type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's what it kind of looks like to me. Like he's either really good or really bad. There's no, I mean, I should say really, but he's either good or bad. There's no in between there. Mm-hmm. And plus, he's scrambling a lot, which I mean, he does that well. But I mean, at some point, you just, I mean, it's going to get to you. So,
how much credit are you guys giving the fact that they do play all SEC games? So they're not getting any cupcakes, outside of a Mizzou or Vanderbilt.
Auburn's not. I didn't know that.
Like that's what I'm saying. How much weight are we putting in that? Because honestly, he's what is to be expected. He plays good in games he should play good in, and some games like this, he doesn't play that good.
But coming into this game, they were both ranked 6-2.
Yeah,
they were both ranked 6-2 coming into the game this past Saturday, and he looked like an absolute world beater the week before. I mean, he was out there, he was slinging it around. I think he had well over 100 yards rushing. This week he's got 7. This past week he had 7 attempts for negative 18 yards. Like, you know what I mean? He had almost a clean passing record last week. This week, 20 of 41. He completed less than 50% of his passes, 153 yards, no touchdowns, and a pickle. And all they could generate was one. I mean, and then not only that, it's not all on him. I know that basically where football is concerned, the quarterback gets the lion's share of the victory and the lion's share of the lion's share of the blame in a defeat. Tom Brady could go out and throw 12 touchdowns in one game, and the defense could be squat. Like Tampa Bay, like the whole defense could just lay down, and Tom Brady could throw 12 touchdowns, and they'll still say, well, it was Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't able – the TB12 was not able to generate a comeback. So it's the same thing with Bo Nix, but, I mean,
What?
it's like our boy Nate says. And shout outs to Nate again. See, I'm turning into shout out king. I've been listening to you too long, Sean. The shout outs to our homeboy Nate. Trust your eyes. What I see is a kid who can leap tall buildings in a single bound 1 week, and the next week look like he got a good puff of kryptonite dust.
Well, I mean, he's human. Like, you know, honestly, he just. But Sean, going back to what you said, though, I didn't realize this, but they did have a few. They had Akron, they had Alabama State at the beginning of the season. But then for the meat of their schedule and to the end, you're right. I mean, they've played all SEC teams. You're absolutely right. You know that.
Right. And look, let's go ahead.
No, that's it. I didn't know that. I mean, most of their cupcakes are at the beginning of the season. Unlike, you know, a lot of other SEC teams, they have them, you know, maybe toward the end and, you know, maybe a little bit in the middle. But they've got, like I said, they just had those. I think they had Penn State, Georgia State, Alabama State. Yeah, all their cupcakes were right in a row. I mean, right in a row at the beginning of the season. So I mean, if you have like go ahead.
And Penn State's not a cupcake.
No,
right. And they almost lost to Georgia. They did lose to Georgia. What is it? South Georgia, West Georgia? I can't remember the name of the school.
Georgia State.
They almost lost to Georgia State. Georgia. Sorry, Georgia State. Listen. There's University of Georgia, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, West Georgia, Georgia Tech. Like, okay, to all of the colleges,
Georgia College and State University that I went to. So I mean,
right. That we don't need any more schools with a Georgia in the name. We don't have teleprompters, so no more teams named Georgia. We had enough. Anyway, and
let's be honest though. Auburn is very run dependent, and Tank Spiggly got 69 yards, but they had 73 total. You talk about Bo going 7 for -18. Well, a lot of it. Yes, he's a scrambler and he can do it, but it's been a necessity. You know what I mean? If you look at a lot of those games where he's scrambling all over the place, it's not because he's a star scrambler. It's because, look, I'm trying to make something happen for this team because the running game ain't doing it. And my receivers are getting covered downfield.
Exactly.
He is as good as I think the system kind of sets it up. And he will be one of those guys that if he goes to a Pittsburgh or New England in the league where he can get in the system, figure it out, and he has support, he'll be good. If he goes to a Jets, if he goes to a Jacksonville, well, you're going to get a lot of this. Him running around, making 1 or 2 amazing plays that we're all talking about, but still saying, I'm not going to trust this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, the way things are going right now, it'll probably wind up going to what the Jets just got. The Jets and the Jags just made some splashy quarterback draft picks this year. So who's in the barrel?
I don't think he's going to a top team though. I think
no. I'm saying he's going to go like to one of those high first round draft picks. But I'm saying the Jets and the Jags.
No. I don't even say he goes first round. No, I don't believe. Maybe I'm out. That's because I'm outside the SEC. I don't believe in Bo Nix. I love Bo Nix, but I don't believe in him that much. I think if he gets past like where Trask went in the second round or something like that, and he really has to show me something in the rest of his career. But I don't. I can look at a number of other quarterbacks that I think would go higher than Bo Nix. He just has too much of a gunslinger, like, let me just throw up this prayer and hope, like, too much of that for me. It's not, if he was just a Mac Jones consistent, boom, 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 that's fine. But a lot of what makes him great, the scrambling and the moving around and everything, is also what's the detriment.
Right.
Because he'll run around and do this amazing thing against Alabama, but like you said, then he'll play this game and he'll run around and he'll do all that and get a flag for holding because the old lineman didn't know what was going on, and then he throws an interception.
And I think him doing that also is just like he feels the pressure probably prematurely, and the pocket starts collapsing on him, he's gone. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't give him a chance to basically do his checks, which, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, maybe his offensive line doesn't give him that kind of time, but at the same point, the pocket collapses and he's gone. I mean, out of necessity, like you were just saying, Sean, but I mean that he may become used to that kind of scenario. You know what I'm saying?
There it is.
But,
there it is. And he played. Look, let's be honest. He played at Georgia. He played at LSU, and we know LSU isn't that great this year. But Arkansas, Ole Miss, these are teams with better than average defenses. Some of them, you know what I mean. And they played tough against him. And once you play at Georgia, I guarantee you, ask any of those quarterbacks that have played the Georgia defense, all of them are starting to hear something in their ear a little early. Like they're waking up in the middle of the night, like you know what I mean. So I think. It's a little bit of that, dealing with that, but then also he knows, and I mean, maybe you guys can tell me who's his backup. He knows it's him. You know what I mean? I think the difference is he doesn't have, like we talked about Spencer Rattler, he doesn't have, the Caleb Williams in the background. He doesn't have somebody that's going to come in and then, maybe there is no other option but Bo Nix. And so when you have that, it's kind of like it's all or nothing. I'm going to live or I'm going to die with you. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, in the SEC, being that it's Auburn, Georgia's number one, Alabama's up there too. You getting a lot more spotlight than maybe Sam Howell of North Carolina. Since you're gonna bring the camera on me. But you're gonna get a lot more attention because of you're in the SEC and because let's be honest, he showed those good games like you guys talked about. In some of these big games, he has been this guy that you're like, oh my God, I need to get him. I love this. This is my guy. And then you come to these games, and you're like, you put up 3 points. So
right. Like Anthony said, he gets the good as well as the bad too. So I mean, that's got to be in his head too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and like you mentioned earlier, zero run support. Right. Tank Bigsby was the guy that everybody's like, Tank Bigsby is just going to come in and dominate this season. And Tank Bigsby has been not much of a factor all season. Yeah. Your leading running back got you 69 yards in a loss. I mean, you're struggling. Well, let's be real. They kind of struggled both sides offensively because Texas A&M only had 1 touchdown, and that was in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and even then, that was a defensive touchdown, was it? That was a defensive touchdown on a fumble recovery, a scoop and score. So there we have that. Auburn has left on their schedule Mississippi State, who is number 17, one of those teams that also has a shot at it. South Carolina, who's kind of surging right now. So South Carolina is actually at 5-4, pretty respectable for South Carolina. And then they got Bama to end the season. So I still see them probably giving Bama the business. I don't know what kind of business or how much business, but I definitely see them getting up for that game.
Yeah,
definitely.
I can see him going 0-3.
Seriously?
You see Auburn going 0-3?
I can see him going 0-3. Mississippi State, I understand they just lost. We're talking about them in a little bit. Mississippi State, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you, Handy. You talk about that quarterback. What's his name? Will Rogers.
Will Rogers.
He's
the boy's got a cannon for an arm.
He's got the third most passing yards in the country. Okay,
yes,
the
sir.
Man can throw it. Obviously, they do throw it all the time, but still, he's got over 3,300 passing yards. So I think they're going to beat him. Alabama, I still believe in. And who's the middle team you said?
South Carolina. I was going to say 1 and 2. They ain't going to be South Carolina.
I got to give it to you. But they're like, no. I tried.
Again,
yeah, maybe 1 and 2.
Wait a minute. That depends on which South Carolina shows up. Because South Carolina beat who on Saturday?
That was Florida, wasn't it?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Florida was heavily favored in that game.
Florida's all but giving up if they didn't give up. They done, man. They got rid of Grantham. They got rid of the other guy.
I don't think it's the same Florida team that almost beat Alabama. I think it's a very different team. They don't look the same.
No, you guys have jumped right into it. That's the next topic. Is the Mullen era over at Florida?
Probably.
I think it's over.
I mean, you don't think it's over? You think they're going to bring it back?
I think right now, this is my 2 cents. Yeah, he fired Todd Grantham, who's the D coordinator. He fired the O-line coach,
You know, the
John.
O-line, the guy's taking over O-line is a Georgia boy, right? He played with Georgia.
Yeah, I saw that. He was yes, I did see that. Go
Yeah.
Dogs. The dogs are everywhere. I think right now is Mullen is throwing off ballast to keep the ship from going down. So he gave gave these guys up as a sacrificial lambs. My understanding that he's got the AD is in his corner. The AD is a huge Dan Mullen supporter and was one of the champions of bringing him in as a head coach. So I think if they finish out the rest of their season and they've got a cupcake game next week against Sanford. They've got Mizzou and they've got FSU. Now, bad as they are, there's no reason why they can't get 2 of those 3 games and still salvage a 6-6, or win all 3 and go 7-5 and be bowl eligible.
I think they will.
That's just my 2 cents. But I mean, I'm putting it to you guys because I just think I think with the collapse this year, the guys were kind of encouraged behind hey, we almost beat Bama. Like we came out of the gate and we took them all the way down to the wire. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the cocktail party kind of demoralized the guys.
I think the 2 quarterback system demoralized them. I've never been a fan of that. I think the Tua and Jalen Hurts thing is cute, and I mean, I understand what it means to. Well, no, look, I understand what it means to you guys because I was on the phone with my buddy from Georgia, and it was 13-0 at halftime, and then all of a sudden Tua comes in and does what he does. But then and I'm glad you mentioned this, Colin, about the other game that y'all played where they had Tua in, and y'all had Tua, and then they took him out. Look. It's a great problem to have if you have 2 or 3, because I know Mac Jones was there at the time, 3 top-tier 5-star talents. But I think what happened to Florida is you get one guy going, he's doing his thing, and then all of a sudden, let's try this gimmick and bring this guy in. Right. That's why I don't think – and Colin, I go with you on the whole thing about JT Daniels and Stets and Mailman. Keep Mailman in. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Right. Do not mess up his flow trying to get this other guy in there. And if it gets to a championship game and y'all put him in, like I think we all got fooled by what Nick Saban. Like Nick Saban, it worked. Tua and Jalen, that worked. So we got fooled by that.
So one thing with that though, when that happened, when they did the reverse, when they took out Tua, put in Hurts. And I will never forget this. I don't know, Anthony. I don't know if you remember this, but I think they interviewed one of the Georgia players or something, and he actually, or I don't know who they interviewed, but it was somebody on the Georgia team. We didn't practice for Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. That came out of his mouth, and I was like, hold on. So that's what happened. They were all too focused on Tua, and what happened was they put Hurts in there, and it was just that what happened. You know what I mean? Right. They were prepared for him to put Hurts in there because they were fully convinced that Tua was the number 1 guy.
And Hurts is the top tier talent, though. That's where I see. Because look, I like you guys have watched JT Daniels. I watched him at USC, and to me, I see another Sam Darnold, another Matt Barkley, somebody that's very hyped, and now he got an opportunity to transfer, and maybe we'll see. Look, I even go to your boy Eason. And I understand how highly he might have been touted and how everything like that. And maybe it was the fact that he went to Washington and he completely downgraded his talent as far as around him. He didn't look that great to me. And for what I saw in Georgia, he didn't look that great to me then. So what I'm saying is this. I don't believe that it's a perfect problem to have if you have 2 stud quarterbacks. You could say, oh, today I'll choose him, today I'll choose him. But especially with what you guys have going and going back to Florida, with Florida, I think that was the detriment. You have 2 great guys, but the team needs to know who to follow. You know, it says in the good book, all right, that you can't have 2 masters. Okay, you can't.
I not Deacon. You just supposed to be taking the collection. I'm gonna give the sermon after the choir. Give the A and B selection.
But no,
go ahead. Say what you gonna say.
Yeah, with you guys, I say you stay with the guy that you've going with, and I think for Florida, I think it was just the team is going for this guy. He feels good. Okay, I like this guy, but then okay, now we're putting this guy in, and it's like, wait a minute. Or if this guy struggles, well, why don't we put him in now? It's like the way that he played that is going to be an issue in the long run. But if he can't get that together, he might be on his way out.
But I think we're in a unique position, though, in the two-headed monster type of conversation, because we had those two quarterbacks, Mailman and JT, they have some very, very notable differences. I mean, like if you look at it, the Mailman, he's got wheels. I mean, he stays in his pocket for a good amount of time, but when he's forced to move out of that pocket, he's a fast guy. Like he's actually got wheels. And JT, from what I see. With him, he's more of a comfortable pocket passer, and he's able to make those decisions to throw down the ball downfield. And he's definitely got the bigger arm. JT's got the bigger arm than Stetson. But I believe that's just a different scenario for us. I mean, like as comparing it to like a Tua, Jalen Hurts type of situation.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. But I agree that you need to have somebody in there that your offense is actually comfortable and knowing what's going on instead of just snatching the guy out and putting somebody else in there.
Right. Well, see, and here's my 2 cents on the two quarterback situation. It's not so much to have the two guys in so you can do like New Orleans with a Taysom Hill with the Swiss Army knife type deal.
No, not at all. No.
It's just one of those things where, like, if it comes down to it, and you absolutely positively need to make that change in a crucial situation, like how Saban did in a national championship game, then you have that guy that you can pull out. You have that guy you can pull out and go get the hardware.
But I think we all look at that after the fact. Like in the middle of the game, I remember when I was like, oh, they took him out. Oh, you guys definitely got this now. Oh my goodness. This guy hasn't even done anything with them. That's a unique situation there in Alabama, because we know all of their guys, eventually get playing time or whatever. But if you're in a big game, this guy, especially the fact that Mailman was not the guy. It was supposed to be JT, but JT had those injury issues. The fact that Mailman came over right, that's what I'm saying. The fact that Mailman came in, won over the team. I mean, look, even you guys are diehard Georgia boys. In the beginning, you were kind of like, I still got to see a little bit more. I still got to see, until the point where you're like, yes, this is my guy.
I'm gonna have to.
You've been sold from day one. Are you that biased?
Hold on, no, not against sold from day one. On the Mailman.
Yeah, on the Mailman.
I remember when Stetson was coming in garbage time when Fromm was still there. And Colin and I used to text about that, and it was like, "Yo, you see your boy Bennett out there lighting it up?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dang, all right, I'm ready to see him." I was ready to see him do something. I didn't even know JT Daniels was an option until he transferred in, and then apparently he was supposed to do the thing, and he wound up taking the job over at the end of the season. But when Stetson came back, I said to myself, this guy has fought. I mean, he was at Georgia. He left Georgia. He went off to junior college. He came back to Georgia. This guy is dedicated to the G.
Yeah, this guy is committed to the G.
So you said that to yourself?
No, I said that to. I thought when I saw that coach was going to start him, I'm like, all right, let's roll.
No, I mean, I can't. Nobody knows. You telling. I can't tell you if you're lying or not. So you can say whatever. Just like you told us on Washington Football Weekly that as soon as we signed Blewett, you told us that Blewett was this is terrible. This is terrible. It's like, wait a minute.
Because that was making a joke because of the man last name. You know, Skip Bayless. Skip
Bayless. Your boy Ab got you. Your boy Ab got you. Yo, I need to call him up.
You're not gonna sit there, Skip Bayless, and put words in my mouth right now.
Hold up. Do we need to go to the videotape? Don't do it. Do we need to go to the videotape? All right.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying I didn't say that about Blewett, but I also told you I was making a joke about that dude's name from the Giddy Up. I just said that was hilarious that they even signed a dude named Blewett. You signing a kicker named Blewett because the minute he missed a kick, that's what they gonna say. Come on, man. You gonna try
What
to
did he do? I
twist
think he
I
missed
know
that,
what you
didn't he?
said. Hey, look, I'm not
Trying
gonna
to
go here.
twist my
I
words
know what
around.
you said, Anthony. I know
trying to
what
twist
you
my
said.
words around like a roll gold pretzel.
Hey,
Listen,
don't
man,
make me send it to you on air now. Come on.
I'm just
Let's move
telling
on.
you.
Let's
I'm
move
just
on.
telling you. I'm just telling you when it comes to I'm not that guy that's all about the quarterback controversy. Because you know why? Because I don't make $6.9 million a year to go and scout and get these guys out there. Kirby has been looking at some of these guys since they've been at high school when they were at other teams. Kirby saw something in Stetson when he came back for this season and said, he said, you know what? I don't think you're quite ready yet. But and then when he said when JT got hurt and he put Stetson in, I was like, we golden. You know, because I knew he was a good quarterback. I knew he had some issues, but I knew he was a good quarterback, and he wasn't going to come back if he didn't have a Nate. I'm gonna get to your question in a minute. Don't go nowhere. I knew that he was coming back, and I knew he was able to get the job done. And so JT was hurt. He got twinged a little bit, so he wasn't gonna play. I said, "Oh well, you know, JT gonna do what just like Bama do what Bama do. JT do what JT do." And so, but when Stetson went in there, I was like, "All right, let's make it happen." And he's done it. Listen, I'm the guy. I am that fan. I am that fan that if you give me somebody, I'm gonna ride with that person until they show me they can't do the job. And you know what? So Stetson threw a couple of picks. Hell, Tom Brady had been to 10 Super Bowls. Did he win all 10 of them? And the 3 he lost, he looked mighty bad in. So even the greatest can have a bad day from time to time. Huh?
He threw for like over 500 one of the losses. He didn't look mighty bad.
He threw a lot of picks and he got sacked a lot. That's all I'm saying. Don't you get me started? Don't you get me started
out there, man? Come on, man. Just keep it going. Move on.
Don't you get me started on Tom Brady. You know me and Tom Brady. I just started respecting Tom Brady on Tuesday 3 weeks ago.
Hey, let me get this out there though. As far as the mailman, and JT, whatever. Yeah, I mean JT may be the better quarterback or whatever, but what the mailman has been through and what he's doing now is absolutely, that's why I like the kid. Because I mean, like he's had people, just dog him left and right. He's made some bad decisions, that kind of stuff, and even decided to come back. I mean, he could have just said, "I ain't doing this," because they're supposed to be Georgia fans, and you're killing me. They want JT, they're all in for JT this and JT that, and I'm the quarterback. I mean, I give him props for coming back and doing as well as he's doing.
Well, exactly, so, I mean, but that's my point, man. My point is, look, it wasn't the perfect situation. Whatever happened wasn't one or the other that came in right away. But when Stetson came in, he won over the team. He obviously had the history, but he still came and won over the team. Each game, he's looked better. He has not been perfect, but he's looked better. And that's what I think. That's going back to the 2 quarterback system. That's where we started with this. Yeah. That's where I think if you're in a big game and maybe Stetson is down, and this is unfamiliar territory. You know what I mean? Maybe he's in there. I don't think you rush or even I don't think you pull him for I think you trust your defense. They're gonna like all year they've helped me out. Trust your running game, but I don't think you go to JT Daniels. Right. Because like you said, the one thing I know about JT Daniels is he's almost a statue, especially with the injury. Stetson can run the ball. That's where I think it's different from the Alabama and where I think it's different from Florida, where you have somebody that you guys can follow. He might not be world beater, but Stetson gets the job done and that team follows him and they've learned to trust him. Right. In Florida, they didn't know who to follow. Right. I mean, Richardson or this guy, and then they're looking at Dan Mullen. Mullen's like, this week it's this guy. Let me pull out this guy. So they didn't know. That's where I'm saying they're in shambles. I don't know why we had to go all the way to get to that.
you was the one that started. You asked the question. I was answering the question. You asked the question. I was answering the question. Then all of a sudden, then you want to pull out videotape. You talk about pulling out receipts and how I misunderstood the assignment.
Okay. We're going to see you on Wednesday. We're going to see you on Wednesday, bro. Man, let me go send that out. Anthony Handy, Wednesday, Washington Football Weekly.
Oh man, look, I can't listen. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Handy Bowl is coming. Handy Bowl 6. For those of y'all that don't know what that's all about, my wife is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. I am a diehard Falcons fan. The first time the Falcons, ironically, my marriage almost didn't make it past the first anniversary. And I'm telling you why. because Dallas played Atlanta on our first wedding anniversary.
You know what? I remember that, dude. I do remember
and we won.
Mm.
And then we played a few years later and we won again. And then I think we jumped out to 3-0 lead in the series. And
that's been a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, the deal with handyball was the first one was the second one was the loser has to put on their rival's face paint.
Ooh.
And go somewhere where there's a bar around a bunch of fans of that team and hang out. Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know I don't know where Saints fans hang out in Northern Virginia, but at that time, being in the industry that I was in and having a fairly decent following, I'm pretty sure Saints fans would have come out the woodwork to see your boy in Saints get up for the Falcons Saints game. But
I thought it was Cowboys. That was Falcons Cowboys.
No. But the deal was if the Falcons lost, I would have to wear Saints face paint.
Oh, your rival. Oh,
yeah. I would have to wear Saints face paint and go to a bar somewhere and watch the Falcons Saints game, right? around a bunch of Saints fans. Yeah. Well, as luck would have it, the Falcons won and they won pulling away, and my wife had to wear Redskins face paint, and our friend came by and had a Redskins fan had great joy in putting my wife in Redskins face paint. And then another friend showed up at the bar and brought her one of his custom made leather Letterman's jackets with all the burgundy and gold and everything. And she was but yeah, so we almost didn't make it past the first anniversary. Fortunately, we're still together. We just celebrated 10 years this past Thursday. I love you, boo-boo.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna make sure I isolate this part and put that out here to make sure that I'm gonna end it with the "I love you, boo-boo" part. So hey, Sean, me and you, I know how you do. My darling fiance, who's Detroit Lions, are just
bring out that notebook, yes, dear. Right?
Yeah, yes, dear. Hey, that's what it is.
But no, so Handy Bowl, that's what that is. This will be the sixth Handy Bowl. And so far, the Falcons are leading the series 3-2. It would have been 4-1 if it wasn't for Atlanta letting the watermelon crawl onside kick.
Mm-hmm. That's hilarious.
I can tell you how salty I was over that bullshiggity. Anyway, that's what's going on. So yeah, I gotta get the next question. He's been waiting so patiently. Will Maryland make a bowl game? Anybody want to jump on that one and field that one? I think you're more the subject matter expert there, Mr. Shout Out King.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, I rooted for them in the beginning of the year, and they have let me down greatly. And you know what? No, they're 5-4 right now. So who they got left? They got Michigan State, Michigan, and yes, they will make a bowl at 6-6 because they're going to lose the next two, but they will make a bowl.
You don't think Maryland will jump up and smack one of them two in the mouth while they're down?
Not without their top receiver. And Talia is not Tua, but he does have Tua's injury issues. Who's Talia? For those of you who don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that's the quarterback of Maryland, and he's got an arm, but two of his top receivers, which were I think one of them was top 5 on Mel Kiper's receiver board. Two of them are out for the season. They've been struggling. They started off great and then got smacked by a bunch of teams. I think it was Iowa beat them. Penn State just worked them. Minnesota beat them. Ohio State put 66 on them. I mean, Colin, if you needed any answer last week, you just said, well, they put 66 on Maryland. I mean, that it's Ohio State, you know?
It is Ohio State. And it is Maryland, though.
Right. Well, that's why I see them going 6-6. Because Michigan State and Maryland, Michigan State and Michigan, I think, are both kind of, since now they both lost, they're both kind of refocused now. Now we both have to beat Ohio State. And like I told you, all Michigan people care about now. They don't hate each other. Now they like each other again, and it's all about hate Ohio. So they're both focused on getting there, and whoever does it beat Ohio State. And then they got Rutgers, with Greg Schiano has showed up. Right.
Trap game.
Right. So they could easily lose that and then go 5-7. So I mean, it's possible, Nate. In my opinion, it's possible, but don't look good.
I don't know. I SEC football is my game. I have been following Maryland, but I'm actually I'm kind of impressed that they have at least managed to hold on to a winning record this year. Because I remember around the time I was leaving, coming out here, things were not looking so pretty for the Terps. So
they joined the Big Ten and they weren't ready for that.
No, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't. Can I get a pin this motherfucker's muffin cap back? Blue. Was that a drink? I don't know. Why would you throw a pin at it? We don't even know what it is.
Stand on one foot. Yeah,
and the Big Ten didn't care nothing about nothing. They would just the body was facing this way, and the head was facing that way.
Yeah. And
that's what Maryland ran. Maryland's riding in the car like just why would you throw a pin at it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean they got good looking uniforms. You know that's what.
Yeah, right. Right.
Hey,
shout out to them. I played in 1996. I played in my youth football league. It was the first year I played, and we got to play at Bird Stadium on that field, and it is absolutely amazing. It's one of the most beautiful fields I've seen, and I'm not even a Maryland fan.
Yeah, no, we went. When were the Nationals in the playoffs? I think it was the year. I think they were in the playoffs. They didn't win the World Series. I don't think they won, but actually, me and a couple of friends of mine, we actually did a 2 sports Saturday. Maryland was playing Ohio State in Maryland, so we went to that game and at noon, and then we went to the Nats game. I can't remember who they were playing, but we went to the playoff game later on that night. So I've been to that. I've been to Maryland's stadium. It's nice. I like it.
It's a beautiful stadium.
But I had to book out around. I think Georgia played around 3:30. So I had to book out and go back to the parking garage and set up the old iPad and.
You didn't miss much. I guarantee you didn't miss much.
It was a blowout anyway. It was already done by second.
Listen,
anyway.
listen. I think to some degree we are all like that. Because Sean, didn't you had the game on? You was at a concert. You had it listening in your ear.
In my ear. Oh yeah, I was at an Orioles game, and Orioles were horrendously bad. And then it was a concert after that, and it was one of the only games we won in Washington. But I had it in my ear, tucked under a hat, with the flannel over top, just sitting here like, yeah. When they kicked the winning kick, it was like intermission, and we were like on the field, everybody was quiet, and all of a sudden they kicked the winning field. And I was like, yes, let's go! Everybody turned around looking at me.
I was watching all that. I was watching it on what was a Samsung tablet, but it was Wi-Fi. And I had one of those. I was working for Sprint at the time, and I had one of those hotspots. And I had fired up by myself because I was a engineer, like testing engineer. So I fired it up on LTE. So I had that in the parking lot, and we were playing Clemson at the time. So we were just in there, watching the game while everybody else was in there watching Ohio State. That game was over anyway. So I had more priorities.
I got a story like that too. Now y'all both know I love my fraternity with all my heart. We even got a chant deep in my heart. I love my 8-5. I love my 8-5. I was on my way down to Norman because the undergrad chapter down there was having a neophyte presentation, the probate show, because they were bringing the new guys out. We are in the parking lot. This is SEC championship game, I think, too, Colin, that year. It was the first year we moved out here, 2018, the following year. SEC championship game. I am in the parking lot with my phone. My wife was like, don't we need to get in there? It's going to get started soon. I'm like, no, this can wait. Down to the last second watching the game. I was like, well, don't like we going to pull this one off. But that's, I'm right there with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm right there with you. Well, we got to keep this thing moving on because somebody decided they want to talk about 2 quarterback system and then we'll call out receipts, but we won't say who. we won't say who. That's my man, the shout out king. So real quick, the CFP rankings came out. What are your guys' thoughts on the CFP rankings? That
Bama does what Bama do.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never
says it all.
I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I just don't understand how they are. After losing to A&M, I don't get how they're number 2.
How they lost to an unranked team and managed
Yeah.
to somehow to be number 2.
And Cincinnati, even though Cincinnati, had trouble with Tulane, they still undefeated. You know what I mean?
Right. And Cincinnati got pushed all the way out of the top 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's rightfully so. Everybody else that's ahead of them has had a tough schedule and has been doing pretty solid with it. Cincinnati really hasn't played anybody, and they've been struggling with teams. So, and at the end of the day, it goes back to, and the CFP and the committee, all of them look at this. Who do people want to watch? Look, I want to watch Cincinnati, obviously, because I think it'll be a good game, but that's not something that mainstream wants to see. They want to see Georgia, Alabama, the brands, the big name brands on TV.
Wait a minute. Why you say Georgia like you just stepped in?
I'm looking at two. I'm looking at the list. I was looking at Georgia, Alabama, and I was about to say Michigan, but I was like, no, I'm not even going to put them in that category. I just said Ohio State.
Basically, it's who they want to see Georgia play.
Right.
Well, right. I mean, but it goes back to the comment you said last week, Colin. It's the Alabamas, Georgia. You could put them in that category. Ohio State's. Yeah. Those teams people want to see play. And even if those teams, like, look what happened to Ohio State a year ago. Ohio State didn't even get the required amount of wins. And then the Big Ten switched it up so that they can get in the Big Ten championship, so that they can, you know what I mean?
Move that goalpost.
Right. They want them in there. So, you know what I am surprised about? I am surprised that undefeated Oklahoma is so far down on this list.
Me and you
That's
both.
because not a lot of people. I will be honest with you here. The big debate here, and this is I listen to all of the sports talk guys at some point during the day. The biggest thing is even folks here in Oklahoma have said, "Listen, we are undefeated. We done with the Sooners are undefeated. They're done what they need to do, but they've only looked impressive in 2 games." You know what I mean? It's almost like they're almost suffering from. And sorry, Donnie. They're almost suffering from Notre Dame syndrome. Where they're able to pull off a 10-11 win season, but not look very impressive, and then get into Notre Dame that year they got in the playoff and just got completely run off the field. You know what I mean? So I
mean, that sounds eerily familiar to being a Georgia fan, right? We're good for 10 wins, right? I mean,
all day.
You know what I mean?
No. But at least Georgia has at least. In the experience of the BC, I don't know. We've never been to BC. In the experience, the one experience we had in a national championship game is that we, even with a loss, we were able to make that game something exciting to see all the way down to the wire. Whereas Notre Dame showed up after the 3 minutes after the first kickoff, the score was like 47-0, and then they just ran a whole bunch of Dr. Pepper Fansville ads.
I told you what happened
until the game was over.
Yeah. Well, now with that, from that point of view, though, then that does make me want to put a Cincinnati in there, because we have to understand Cincinnati. I don't think people look at Cincinnati and they see UCF those years that they went undefeated and they got smacked. But I don't look at Cincinnati. I look at Cincinnati and look at them like Louisville when Teddy Bridgewater came in and they got the W. I look at Cincinnati like Boise State when they, did the whole, you know what I mean? I think Cincinnati is one of those type of teams where you just get a situation where you have guys that have played together for several years. Then on top of that, you have transfer that come in. I think, and then on top of that, you have the fact that the last and only loss in the last 2 years was to the number 1 team in the country. To be honest with you, the higher that Georgia goes, the more that people will look at Cincinnati, because a lot of the players that were on Cincinnati's team a year ago played in that Georgia game, and they only lost 24-21. Yeah, so people are going to want to see that if they get that. Now, I don't know, because as you guys said, the defense is better, the different team. But at the same time, but if they're going to want something, because people are starting to see, let me get one thing that I have not seen. I'm going to get Ohio State. I'm going to get Alabama. I'm going to get Georgia. But let me get somebody. Is there somebody else I can believe in? And I don't want to do Notre Dame, like you guys are saying. I don't want to do Notre Dame. No. Oklahoma, I still think Oklahoma is slighted, but I get it. But they don't want to see Michigan. They want to see somebody that's like, they don't want to see Oregon, because the Pac-12 is so right now. They want to see somebody that could potentially shock them.
You want to know who else is getting no love by from the CFP? The best, still the best team in South Carolina. Coastal Carolina's got one loss, and they are nowhere to be seen. They are nowhere to be seen in the CFP rankings.
Yeah. But I mean, that goes back to that Power 5 thing. As soon as they lose one, just like Cincinnati, if Cincinnati loses one, they don't belong to be in the conversation. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing. They lost that one game. They come back strong. They have they've only lost 2 games in the last running on 3 seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me that's not a respectable enough accomplishment to make it? I mean, Notre Dame is always good for one loss, even if it's a bowl game every year. And Notre Dame is consistently in the rankings. So why can't a Coastal Carolina get that same kind of love?
The same reason you talked about a week ago, man. The same thing you talked about a week ago about people want to see certain teams. They want to see certain groups in there. Me personally, give me a Cincinnati, give me a Coastal Carolina, maybe a BYU, give me a San Diego State. There's a lot of one.
You could have stopped at Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati.
but there's a lot of one-loss teams out there that nobody gets to see because they're not getting airtime.
But at the risk of opening up another can, wouldn't that 12 team alleviate that though?
Yep.
It would help.
It would
help.
At risk of opening up a can of worms here, but at the same point, you'll have your Cincinnati's, your Notre Dame's, you'll have all these people included in this 12 team. And, maybe they had a good team, maybe they're undefeated, but like I said, they will end up playing a power, they'll end up playing, say, in Georgia or playing, hell, throw Coastal Carolina in there. I mean, they've had a good year to see what they can do.
Now, I don't look. Like I said last week, I'm not against the 12 team. I just don't want to eliminate the other bowls. I'm with that because I do like that. I don't want to get to the 64 like in March Madness. I want these other teams to have their thing.
But I think that will alleviate all the, like I said, all the talks about the TCUs when they were good, and you got to see Central Florida's. You got all these people talking all this noise and actually having good seasons, regardless of who they played. Maybe they didn't have that strength, that strong of a schedule, but that'll put that conversation to bed. You put them in that in the playoffs, and then boom, if they get, hell, they may win. You know what I'm saying? They may win that given in the playoff, whatever. But that will put to bed the question: were they good enough to be in the playoff? You know what I'm saying?
It also put us to bed though, because what are we going to talk about if all we're talking about is the top tier? It kind of gives us something extra to talk about when you talk about that. Hey, could they do it? Does that make me crazy? Not to bring up football, right? Okay. but honestly, it still gives us something to talk about. It makes us think, okay,
yeah, but
gives me something to talk about. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, it just put the what we've talked about Alabama. Alabama is always going to be in the top 4. The way it looks, regardless. You know what I'm saying? If that was us that actually got beat by an A&M team, Anthony, you and I both know like I said, we'd be in the we'd be way back there.
Yep. We'd be sitting at like 7 or 8 and wouldn't be able to get any love to get back in the
absolutely. We wouldn't be in the top 4 conversation. We would not even be in that conversation.
Right.
I'm fully convinced that we would not even be in that conversation.
Not without going out and hanging at least 70 points on every opponent from that point going forward, and nobody scored.
Right.
Like we would have to do something super Herculean in order to get back into the top 4.
I agree. Yeah.
Hey, fellas, you know what? I just got something in on the This Week Wire. There's another team here that's upset because nobody's talking about them, and to get yeah.
They just watch out for Hendon Hooker, boy.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I'm just going to say this. I know we talk about CFP. I want to jump over to next week's matchup against Tennessee. Man, the Tennessee fans are woofing hard all over social media. They are woofing hard. And the thing that they don't get is they're hanging. They hung 45 on Kentucky, but Kentucky doesn't have any defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're saying. They're saying that Tennessee is going to be the best defense we've seen. That's what I've been reading. I was like, okay.
Kentucky was supposed to. Listen, I'm not dogging anybody, but Kentucky was supposed to be the best defense we saw.
I mean,
the best defense we saw all season was Clemson.
Yeah.
Because Clemson is the only team that kept
Supposedly.
us from scoring, like running up the score. But even then, our defense just completely shut them down too. I mean, Tennessee's talking all this smack. They gave up 52. They gave up 52 to Bama. They gave up 31 to Ole Miss. They beat South Carolina and still let South Carolina score 20. They let Missouri score. They let Missouri score 24. They let Florida hang 38 on them. The only
Where's it at? Is it in Knoxville?
What? Yeah,
it is in Knoxville. Okay.
Yeah, we're playing at Neyland Stadium.
Yeah, Georgia's got a 20-point. The line is 20 for Georgia.
It's
20. You got a 20-point advantage. Yeah.
Their defense has only shut out 2 teams this so far this season. That's Bowling Green, and poor Bowling Green is only like 3-6. They got to win 3 more games to get bowl eligible. Actually, they got to win their last 3 games to get bowl eligible. And then the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. Those are the only 2 teams that they have defensively. They shut them out 56-0. So you're playing. Got to be careful. It's like Omar Little said, if you come for the king, you best not miss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, this could. I mean, like Sean was saying, I mean, it's one of them trap games. You know, you can't like it's nobody. Because I mean, any game.
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Georgia shows up. If Georgia shows up and does at a bare minimum what they did last week, as long as the defense is on all cylinders, as long as the defense is clicking on all cylinders, and I don't know what coach is going to do. I'm hoping the coach is going to stick with the plan and I mean, I don't have a problem with coach putting in coach letting JT get some snaps in garbage time. I got no problem with that.
No,
but just to put him in and say, okay, you're playing the first half, you're playing the second half. No, fuck that bullshit. Excuse me. We normally don't use that kind of language on the show. Sorry about that. The language used by the host is not necessarily the opinions of the Zagner Productions, the Zagner One Radio Network, or any of their affiliates thereof. So,
yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm ready to see that game. What time is that game?
That is a 3:30 kickoff.
Yeah, it's 3:30 on CBS.
On CBS,
the SEC network, CBS.
Yeah, so that's where we are right now, man. I am very, to get back to the CFP thing, I'm very, very interested to see how this whole thing is going to shake out, because you had, Cincinnati got played tight, Alabama got played tight.
That game surprised the heck out of me. That LSU Bama game, I was just like, "What in the world?" And that goes back to what we were talking about a couple of episodes ago here about Alabama is definitely not the team that I thought I'd be seeing this year. Their
offense is still good, but then the offense has been, for the most part, dominant 98% of the season. There's just that 1.7%.
But they're not rolling over people like they usually do. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They usually
they're not.
Just smash them. Regardless if they're down the first half, the second half.
Last season,
knock them down.
I mean, last season they were. I think last season they could spot teams 2 touchdowns.
Oh, absolutely,
and come back and still beat them by 5 or 6.
Or more, yeah.
And heck, who knows? Maybe that's what Mac Jones has been doing in New England. He's like, all right, I'm ready to play now, coach. Let's go get this division.
And usually it's a double-digit win by then. Usually,
I already put up a video that said, "Does that make me crazy?" They might get a home bye. They might get a home game in the wild card playoffs because Buffalo can't even put up a touchdown against Jacksonville. I said, watch out for New England. That's a perfect situation. That's what any of these guys, Stetson Bennett, any of those guys, this is what you would want. Don't go number 1. Don't go 2 or 3. Don't go 15. maybe 30 or 35, but you want to go in the second or third rounds, get on a team that's established, get on a team that has their guy, and you just get ready and learn. And if you can get on a team with
go
that,
to school, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that was a perfect situation for Mac. You go from Saban to Belichick. They're buddies. You know, it's an easy, smooth transition. Right. It's a smooth transition. So that's what I mean, that's the dream. That's what you want. But if you go to somebody like Pittsburgh with Tomlin, you know, you go with somebody maybe now Tampa, because you got those guys in front of you. See what did Trask go there? Didn't he go to Tampa Bay? Kyle Trask?
I don't know where he went.
I think he went to Tampa Bay. I'll look that up in a minute. But
that's a team you want to be on.
Right. You want to go there because you don't want to go. Look, I feel for these guys. Zach Wilson, you see he's out. Trevor Lawrence, you see what he's been dealing with.
Hell yeah.
You know,
he was going to be Jacksonville's savior, and then look what happened.
Right. I was surprised Urban's been still around. Well, he got a W, so I guess they're letting him live another week.
Yeah. But Fingers were there.
Did he freeze?
He might have froze.
Yeah, he's just stuck. There we go.
Yeah. There you go, Sean. This was you last week?
Yeah, right.
I think we got kicked.
There we go. We might have got kicked. Where's Sean at?
Right there.
There he is.
There we are. Oh no, we didn't. We didn't get kicked. Something happened. I don't know what happened. We just locked up.
Yay! Me and Sean was having fun while you were gone.
What happened?
You froze. You froze for a while, and we were just sitting there trying to talk to you.
I don't know how I froze. I'm the one running the stream.
Right. And all of a sudden you got kicked out, and then we were still here.
I told Sean we could do this. Like it was last week.
Just here frozen.
Hold it in.
Need to get you. That guy got mad. He went and pulled the plug on the show.
Tennessee.
Here's another conversation. You think there's going to be some mustard being thrown at us and golf balls and all that kind of stuff at the dogs?
I think.
Or would they be checking for that at the door?
I think they would be. I think they would be checking for all of that.
All condiments need to be put in the trash.
Look, they ain't gonna get. They're not. Listen. You could leave that here. We gonna take that over to the concession stand, because that's the whole. That's the whole thing now. Is the clear bags, right?
Yeah, that's what they do in the NFL.
I'm trying to figure out how that guy got a bottle of mustard.
He probably stole it from the concession stand.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest, because it was
just like in the middle of the stadium, though.
Yeah, but it's just like if you go to what the heck is it? Capital One Arena in DC.
Used to got the pumps, don't they?
Yeah, but they only scan you for metal. Because the only reason why I say this is because we went to a Saints game and somebody brought in some marijuana and joint and stuff like that, and I'm like, how did you get that in here? So they were like, oh, we just stuck it down in our pants. So I'm not saying they stuck it in their pants, but they only scan you for metal, guns, things like that, and then they take out everything in your pockets. I mean. I don't know. I don't know how Tennessee fans go. I'm new to this SEC thing. All right.
I mean, I kind of thought we kind of knew each other a little bit. I have no idea what Tennessee fans were thinking. I have no idea. I can't even pretend to know what they were thinking about throwing mustard golf balls.
That's crazy.
That was a boss move by Lane catching that bottle of water though. That was a boss move.
The one handed just.
The Odell, he Odell'd that thing.
Right.
Well, they're gonna have to change that to something else because
But then he threw his visor in the crowd too. I think when he walked to the tunnel, like before he got to the tunnel, he took his visor off to the thing.
You know what? I gotta give him.
Love him or hate him, man. That was good. That was awesome.
Even though a lot of people say he's a buffoon, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's definitely he's a guy who will take a situation and make the best out of it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the following week, how they did the whole thing with the popcorn giveaway, at the home game. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, gentlemen, I don't know. I'm excited for next week.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I got a question for you, and this one is one I didn't even plan for. Excluding the top 4 teams currently in the CFP, or who we think is going to be projected to be in the top 4 in the CFP after tomorrow evening, excluding those 4, who do you think is going to be the bottom out of the bottom 21? Who's clocking the next big loss this week?
Oh, the next big loss?
Yeah, somebody in the top 25, somebody in the bottom in the bottom 3/5 of the whatever it is, the bottom 4/5 of the 25.
Mm-hmm.
So we just go ahead and take out top 5. Out of that bottom 20, somebody's due for a loss.
I think you got to worry about the team, the state you live in, Oklahoma. They got that team that you talk about all the time, Baylor, being the sneaky team. Baylor, they're going to be 7-3, and they're going to be ready to, try to upset Oklahoma's title dreams. So I think that's one of those ones that you have to be wary about.
I'll go. Well, this might be out of the realm of the bottom top 25, but I mean, again, we're going to Ohio State. I'm anxious to see that Purdue Ohio State game.
Yes, that's the next one I was going to say. Yep.
So they're not. Purdue's not even ranked, but at the same point, I'm wanting to see that one. Ohio State picked to beat them by 20. So I mean, it's
to your point,
Florida,
Iowa, they beat Iowa. They beat Michigan State. Both ranked in the top 5.
Hey, they're coming off a huge win, so you never know.
It could happen.
Yep.
Purdue is just strange. Purdue is one of those teams that gets Hulk smashed, that just levels up out of nowhere. Like nobody was expecting them to level up. Just out of nowhere, they just go Super Saiyan. Mm-hmm. And then everybody was like, that dude, what? They're like, I don't know, I can't control it.
I'll tell you what, it'll be another game though. Is A&M and Ole Miss. I was just looking at.
That one's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a shootout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
because that Calzada kid. That again, another case of another Eason Fromm situation. A&M starting quarterback was supposed to be the wave of the future, and he got hurt. Mm-hmm. And Calzada has just put the team on his shoulders and said, "Let's go."
Yep, let's do it.
But even with that one, it was a long process, because if you go back to that Colorado game, they were ready to take this man out and beat him out of the state. Like he was, but he got hit, he got hurt. He came back in there, led them to like a 10-7 victory or something like that, and he won the team. It's like I said with Stetson Bennett, he won the team. Right. If you can get these guys behind you,
you get them buying into what you're doing. Absolutely, absolutely.
But look, sticking with SEC and sticking with, does that make me crazy? 2-7 Vanderbilt upsetting a troubling Kentucky team.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'll take that.
Sorry, Wes. I'm gonna take this clip and I'm gonna put it in the SEC group. Yeah. I'm sorry, Wes.
Kentucky got their, they got that loss, So that could hang over. It could be a hangover for them, It could be
actually, that question was posed also in a few of the sports groups. Is Georgia is their defense just running around breaking people's spirits? Kentucky came in undefeated, and now they can't get right.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who else did we do that to?
Arkansas
can't get right. Vanderbilt never was going to be right.
I wonder how much credit we gave to these teams prior. I mean, I know they were undefeated. I know what the record said.
Yeah,
but I
think they lost value. Like, I mean, it started off with Clemson, because Clemson was supposed to give us a hard time when we beat them, and then the next up was Arkansas, right? And then we didn't have any problem with Arkansas. Then it was Kentucky. Then it was this was this. Whoever we played, it was just
But when I look at the Arkansas and I look at Kentucky and what they've done after, and they don't even, and maybe it is the fact that they played y'all, but they just, it's
and
just,
Florida.
Florida was on a downward slope though before they got to us.
Yeah,
I just think that was just like the that
I
was
think
like
they put it all in the Alabama game.
Yeah, that was like
they gave it all there.
Yeah,
They
the
ran out
Georgia
of gas, yeah.
the Georgia game was like the tombstone pile driver. That just put them out for the count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
So-
two more for you real quick. TCU plays
Awesome.
Oklahoma State. I think that could we've seen what
Trap
TCU just did.
That's a
And
trap game.
unranked UVA plays number 10 ranked Notre Dame. UVA's got a quarterback by the name of Armstrong that I believe is the second leading passer in the country. They put up, I think we played them and beat them like 59-39 or something. They put up big nine numbers. They hung with BYU. BYU put up 69 on them, and I think they put like 45 on them. You know, these guys got an offense, and we've all talked about Notre Dame. I've seen them play. I don't trust Notre Dame. I think UVA can get this one.
I can agree. I actually was going to say those as well, Sean. But I got one. I got you one more better.
Yeah.
Washington State, Oregon.
Yes, I did notice that. It's going to be interesting.
So that would be, like I said, I don't know. I mean, that would be a good game. I think that'd be an awesome game. But it looks like it's lined up to be a pretty interesting weekend of football, though. I mean,
another interesting weekend of football. I don't think there has not been an interesting weekend of football all season. Whether it's a marquee loss, or some coach gets fired, or some coach quits, or some team gets upset. Like the upsets, does it have anything to do with what was it? Mercury being in retrograde this year? Do you think maybe that had something to do with it? Because it's just like an insane number, both at the college level and the pro level. Like, what happened?
Right.
Like, what's going
anytime
on?
the Falcons win, man, you kind of got to go,
As for college, I think this is the beauty of the sport. You know what I mean? I mean, this is why I come to watch it. I mean, I love the undefeateds. I love the top tier teams, but I want to see that team that everybody's saying, we can look past these guys. The Purdue's, who has gone up to every giant they face and has slayed them. That to me is like, wow, we got to give them some credit. Like, we got to give them some love.
Purdue,
so
for real, has been the giant killer all season for the last several seasons. This is the first time in a while I remember them killing so many giants in one season. But woof,
Purdue can play. But again, that the Big Ten is similar to the SEC, where you guys in house. I mean, it's the black and blue.
yeah.
That's a good sandwich. I ordered that from Jimmy John's the other day.
Jimmy's John's.
From Jimmy's John's.
Jimmy's John's.
Yo, real quick to go back to Nate. Nate asked, "Do we see potential under the radar draft picks?" I want to shout out. Played Ole Miss a week ago. Liberty, you talked about them earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback for Liberty, Malik Willis, is a Georgia boy. He's from Georgia. He's a monster. This kid can play the game. They were really good last year. Again, their conference, you're not going to see them play many teams. So this game, before this game, I was actually very intrigued to see. Obviously, Ole Miss, beat them by 13. But this guy, Malik Willis, if he gets on a right kind of team and the pros and gets right behind the right kind of people, I think this is the type of guy that could really kind of make a move because he has the arm. He has obviously the dual threat, the legs and all that stuff, but he's also been in enough primetime games with Liberty, being undefeated a year ago and then kind of doing a little bit what they're doing this year. So he's getting a lot more attention on him. If I'm not mistaken, he's a junior, so I think he's got one more year left. That's somebody that I think that people are not gonna. He's not gonna be in your top 5, top 10, but he might be in that 11, 12, 13 ranked. Quarterbacks coming in the draft, and he might be one of these guys that like the Mel Kipers and the big board guys they all sleep on. So Malik Willis,
he might have had a better game had he not. So they had 3 interceptions, I guess. So he didn't have those. I don't know how many points those were scored off of turnovers.
Right.
That's kind of an understatement, don't you think? He would have had a better game.
He did play SEC. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and this is Liberty, and being we've all lived at one point, and some of us, me and you, kind of live in Virginia now. Liberty is in Lynchburg, Virginia, down there. hey, it's a Christian school. The fact that they're even in the spotlight is attention enough for them.
Absolutely.
You know,
too much attention.
but this shows me something. Because look, Corral we know he's a Heisman candidate. We know Ole Miss is, play tough against some of those teams in the SEC. So for Liberty to not get stomped by 40, really, it's like, okay, let me see. I like what they got going on over here. So
that definitely says something. Absolutely, yep, for sure.
Oh man, well, gentlemen,
man, we've been talking for this long. Goodness gracious!
Are all hearts and minds clear?
Clear as mud, my friend.
Deacon, you got anything else you want to add to the sermon before we close the church doors of the church?
Oh, you brother! I've already taken the offering, brother.
You wanted to preach before the offering. I had to have somebody come over and tap you on the shoulder to pull your coattail. Ladies and gentlemen, what's say, brother?
Who y'all got this weekend, Sean? Who's UNC? Y'all off or y'all got who y'all playing?
Oh, we played number 25 Pittsburgh. Shout out to the Pickett, their quarterback, Heisman Trophy. He's in like the top 10 in the Heisman Trophy. Look, they got their first loss a week ago. They're going to be hungry. We normally play one up, one down. So we need one more game to get into a bowl game. And we're going to get that. We got Wofford in 2 weeks. We got Pittsburgh this week, but we got NC State in 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get a W between one of those two ranked teams, but I know we're getting one for Wofford. So, tomorrow starts college basketball season where we really dominate. Let's get it.
But this ain't this week in SEC basketball.
Sounds like something might be coming on that realm there. SEC basketball.
That'll be Sean and Nate all day because Nate is
added to the list, right?
Yeah. Lord, look, man, you're gonna have so many shows. It's gonna be at some point your fiance just gonna say, I'm just gonna make you a room in there. You just stay in there. I
already got yelled at 45 minutes ago. I've already been getting texts left and right. I already know. So this just shows my love for you guys, because other than that, look, you see, I'm getting comfortable here on the couch. So,
well, having said that, in the interest of not having our brother, ladies and gentlemen, we also are raising funds for our dear brother Sean Spencer. For the price of a cup of coffee, you too can buy him a better bed, a pull-out bed with an adjustable air mattress, so that he doesn't have to sleep on the couch in discomfort. Because no man should sleep on the couch in discomfort. Dial 1-800 should have got off after Let's Talk Football. That's 1-800 should have got off after Let's Talk Football. Or you can send your Cash App donations to $ help a brother out. So
you can send that to me too.
Right. That particular donation will be split 3 ways between the hosts. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, we thank y'all on that note. We thank y'all so much for joining us for this week's episode. www.helpabrotherout.com. We thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingers on behalf of my esteemed co-host, Mr. Sean Spencer. The shout out. We're gonna start calling you Sean Spencer, the Sean Spencer, the Serta. What is it? The Serta sleep aid. Sean Spencer, the Serta sleep aid king. In the arms of the angel. We're gonna get Sarah McLachlan singing in the background, and down there is my whole fucking.
I don't know who I am at this point. I have no idea what's going on. I'm Sean out here.
Man.
right.
My head is so cloudy right now. I don't know what's going on.
Oh man. Mr. Bama Mr. Bama do what Bama does. We appreciate y'all.
Hey,
we will see you.
Copyright can be used express 100%. Sorry, go ahead.
in the event that we can get Sean a kitchen pass, we'll be back on Thursday. The donation lines are open now. Please call now. Please call now. We will see y'all again on Thursday. Y'all take care.
Your new home for podcasts and original music.
The Saginaw One Radio Network.